Everybody, it's Debbie O'Neill of Scrap Me Quick Designs and the Let's Learn Cricut Explore Facebook group. And I wanted to show you today how to use Anna's lovely layered cards in Cricut Design Space. I've been getting this question a lot. I promised to do a video. I finally got my cartridge and I am now ready to show you how do you size these images in Cricut Design Space, and then how do you work with them once you get them cut out. So as you can see here, I am in my Design Space account. I've checked on cartridges. I searched for Anna's lovely layered cards, and I've already linked this cartridge to my account, so I'm able to see it and use it. And as you can see, there are various things in this cartridge. So you get 5x7 cards. These are intended to be made 5x7, and there's different styles, and then you have some that are square that are intended to be made into 6x6 cards. So let's talk about each of the card styles. First of all, there is a card style that has a white border that runs across the front of it. That card is made so that you can use any of these images here that are in single line, and you would be able to write with this with the Cricut Explore pen in your Cricut Explore machine, okay? And so there's various ones here, and then there is also these embellishment, or these words, that which are much larger, and those are intended for you to attach and create your own embellishment to put on the front of your card. So I'm going to show you how to do that as well. So I'm going to pick birthday wishes, and anyway, so you have one of the cards that's 5x7 has this across the middle, okay, where you can add your writing. Then there's one that doesn't have the piece across the middle for you to add writing to. It just is the image. And then you have one that is the 6x6 card, so it's a square, and you have that same thing for all of the images. And let's see, I want to scroll down, and I'm going to pick Happy Birthday Friend, and I'm going to do Insert Images. Okay, I have already added, now I wanted to show you this. When you add in those single line images, they come in huge. I don't know why. It's something that it's doing. And then there is the image that is intended to be made into your own embellishment, and that one comes in at a decent size. So when you try to add this word, don't freak out. You need to highlight on this and go over here to the edit panel, and here 52 inches wide is not what it should say. You want to get that into something that's more manageable, so I may put 10 inches just so I'll have that and I can play with this in a few minutes. So I'm going to move this over here off to the side. Now you see that we're going to work with the 5x7 size card first. So you see here that you have the 5x7 card, and it comes in like this, right? But it is grouped. You do want to leave this group. Do not ungroup it, because you need to size it all together so that then when you cut the card out, all the pieces will fit in the right order and in the right relationship to each other size-wise. So you want to leave it grouped, including the envelope. What you need to do, though, is go ahead and down here on the bottom of your Design Space screen, it is your zoom. You want to go ahead and zoom this in to one time to 75 inches. And I'm going to go ahead and move these over here out of the way again. Okay, so once I have it at 75%, what I want to do is I'm going to drag this over until my card gets to be 10 inches wide. Now, why am I doing it that way? Because in Cricut Design Space, when you put a card in, it shows you the card completely opened up. So this is a 5x7 card, but to make a 5x7 card, you have to have a 10-inch wide piece of paper by 7 inches high, and then you have your score line here in the middle. So you want to make sure that you go ahead and size this to 10 inches. Now, how do I do that? I move the design over to the edge of the mat, and then I use the little corner here and I drag this until I get this so that the edge of my card is lined up with the 10. Okay? So when I do that, I have now sized my card so that it will be 10 by 7, and you'll see here there's the 7. Okay? So it will be a 5 by 7 card when I finish putting it together. And now my envelope is sized so it will fit as well. Now, don't worry, because you're looking at this and you're thinking that's never going to fit on the 12 by 12 mat, because that is larger. It goes down past 12 inches, right? And we can only cut within 11.5 by 11.5 inches on our Cricut Explore mat. However, this top piece, which is a lighter color than the base piece, are two separate pieces. So when we send it to the mat, what we're going to see, and let me turn these other layers off real quick so they're not going to bother us. I added these cards last, so I'm going to turn this off. Here we go. Bear with me for a second. Let me turn all these things off, and that's how I'm fixing this so that we won't have to worry about it. Okay, so we only have the one that we've sized to 5 by 7. Remember, we have it at 75%, so everything's going to fit. And when I click go, what's going to happen is it will go to my virtual design space mat, and everything will be sized so it fits on the 12 by 12 mat. And I want to show you here, so you'll go through. Now in design space, it puts the darkest color as first, and then it goes down from there to the lightest color, in case no one's ever told you that before. And so it starts with one of the layers, then it goes to this piece is the liner piece, so it does have the score line on it, so you will be prompted to add your score line. It also, this is the base piece of the envelope, okay, and then this piece is the top piece of the envelope. So since the envelope's in two pieces, it will fit on within the 12 by 12 mat in Cricut Design Space. So I think that's really cool to be able to do that. So you would go ahead and proceed to cut your card out, all right? And it would cut out in a 5 by 7, and I'm going to show you this card and how all the layers work and how to put the envelope together here in just a minute. But what I want to do now is I want to show you, because I'm sure you're thinking, well, Debbie, that's great if you want to do the 5 by 7 card, but what do you do if you want to do the 6 by 6 card? Okay, so I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to turn off these pieces that were for the 6 by 6 card. So I can show you that real quick, and then I'm going to turn off the 5 by 7 card because we don't need to see that one. And I'm also going to show you how do you attach the writing. So bear with me for a second. Okay, so now we have the card that was intended. I'll put it back up here. I've got it at 100%. This is the image that is a square image that is intended to be a 6 by 6 card, and it has that line across the middle of the front of the card where you're supposed to attach the writing. Alright, so what we want to do, same thing we did for the other one, we want to go ahead, I'm going to scroll this over so we are all on the same page here, so to speak, and now I want to go down here to the bottom and where my zoom is, and I want to size that down to 75%. So bear with me. We're going to stretch this out because a 6 by 6 card would be what width, right? You would be 12 inches wide by 6 inches tall. So let's say we're using my same formula, and when you go to do a card and you're making it so that this would be 6 by 6 on a 12 by 12 mat, this is what's going to happen to you. It's going to come up and it's going to say this image is too large for a 12 by 12 mat, change it to the 12 by 24 mat. Well, you know what? I don't really care if that card's exactly 12 by 12. If you want to do it on the 12 by 24 mat, go ahead. It'll be perfectly fine to do that. But let's say I don't want to do that. What I would prefer to do is size this card down just enough that it's going to fit within the 11.5 by 11.5 inches. So I'm going to move this card over until it is within the 11.5 inches. So it will end up being a 5 1/4 card by 5 1/4. Okay, or you can make it an even 5 by 5 if you want. But I'm trying to get it as close to that 6 by 6 image as possible. So I'm going to click go. It's going to go to the mat, and now it is going to cut just short of it being a 6-inch square. So there's the 6-inch line. So it will cut just short of that. So now my card is just slightly smaller than a 6 by 6. So that's how you would work with the 6 by 6 cards if you want to just keep using it on your 12 by 12 mat. That was one of the questions that I got, was how in the world would that work? Well, that's how you would do it. Again, I sized everything together because these two pieces are going to be separate for the envelope. But let's talk about the card, okay? So I'm going to make this bigger just so it's easier to work with at the moment. And I'm going to grab the birthday wish sentiment. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how do you add the writing to the writing sentiment that's been included in this cartridge. How do you add that to the front of your card on the cards that have that white bar on it? Well, the first thing you need to do is you need to ungroup the image. Okay, and I want to just pull that white piece down, and I'll leave all the rest of the layers right where they are. Now I want to take this, and I have this at 75%, so it's going to fit on the mat here for us in a minute. And then I want to take that birthday sentiment. If it won't go in front of your card, then you just need to right click on it, and you need to go to where it says move to the front, sorry. And then you can pull that birthday sentiment, or whichever is the long sentiment you had, will go right on top of where that white line is. It's on the front layer of the card. Now I unlock mine, and I may make mine a little bit bigger, and I may make it a little bit taller just so it kind of fits in that space better, depending upon, you know, which of the ones you pick. Now I'm going to highlight that one, then I'm going to hit Control, and I'm going to left click the white part, okay, and now I'm going to go over here into the edit panel, and I'm going to click attach. Okay, so now this piece is all one with that writing on it, but let's go make sure that that writing, it is going to write with the pen. Okay, so the writing here shows you that it's attached. This is the cut file, and this is the pen. So it's going to write the birthday wishes, and then also the little scrolly things on here. Okay, so I'm going to add this back on to the top of my card here. Okay, and now you could go ahead and continue to cut your card. So that's how you attach the writing. And then I also told you guys I would tell you how do you add, I need to find where I put that, the words here. Hold on just a second. Okay, I had it hidden. Okay, now you remember I told you that you have some of these that are larger pieces that are writing that Anna has included in this cartridge, but they are not meant to go on those little white bars across the front of the card. They are meant to be making your own embellishment to go on the front of your card. So how would you do that? Well, you could go over here into Insert Shapes, and you could pick a square. Let's just say we were going to do a square. You could pick any shape really, but you could do a square, unlock it, make it bigger, make it kind of whatever you want it to be, and let's say I need to go over here to the layers panel, and I'll just make it white for now so you can see it. Okay, so here is the box that I just made, and here is the imported writing from the cartridge. I can move that over. I'm going to right click and say move to front. It'll go to the front of that piece. Then I can take this piece and kind of size it down until it gets to the way I want it. I'm going to move it down a little bit because I'm going to add a ribbon or something on the top here when I go to use it. I also might want to unlock this and just make it a little bit wider so it fills in the space nicely for me. Okay, so now I have my writing and I have my piece that I want it to write on top of, right? So I've got the writing. I'm going to hit the control key, then with my left mouse key I'm going to hit the white, and now I have that option over here in the layers panel so I can attach it. Okay, so now that writing is attached to that piece. Now what I can do is I could create a shape to go behind this. Okay, and I'll just stick that, make it just a little bit bigger. Okay, I'm going to ask this one to go in front of this one. Okay, so then when I pull it over, it should go in the front. Okay, so now I've created a border piece that I can cut out of whatever paper I want to cut it out of. Okay, and then this could be your sentiment that goes on the front of some of the other cards that do not have this little white band across it. And now you've made your own little sentiment, and you could use your Cricut pens in any color and write that sentiment, and then you could cut out whatever piece of paper. I might even cut this out of foil paper, the back piece, and then use some pop dots and pop dot this on top of it so you get a three-dimensional element, and be able to use that on the front of some of Anna's cards. So that is how you size everything and how do you use the sentiments that are included with the cartridge. The next thing I want to show you is once you get all those pieces, how do you put it together?
Hey everybody, it's Debbie again. Now I want to show you, now you know how to size it in Design Space, how do you work with the Anna lovely layered cards once you get the pieces cut out. Now, I have put together a Anna's Lovely Layered Sizing in Design Space tutorial PDF for you guys, and I will have that on my website, scrapmequickdesigns.com, in my freebie section, and you can go out there and download this so you have it as a reference when you work with this cartridge. And all those steps that I showed you in the video, I have here by color directions, and I even remind you to do the zoom so that you can size it correctly. And the one that I'm working with first obviously was the 5x7 card. But here I made a note here to remind you that when you're working with the 6x6 card, if you want to keep it on that 12x12 mat size, you need to size the card down slightly to fit. Now, on Anna Griffin's blog, she did a blog post on August the 7th that showed people how do you layer the images once you get all your pieces cut out. How do you then put them together? And she offered this on her blog and said that we could go ahead and cut and paste that from her website and create our own document to be able to use as a reference guide. So I have included that and given them credit for this part of my tutorial. So you will have this if you go download that file. I've already created the PDF for you, so you don't have to worry about that. But what's happened here is that for each of the cards in Anna's Lovely Cards, there are different cards, and they go together in a slightly different way. So each of them will have different pieces, as you can see here. And so you would need to find the card section, the card that you cut out, and make sure that you get the right piece, which card you're working with. Okay, so the one that I'm going to show you today is the floral one. So I need to find the floral card, and it is this card here. Okay, now when I get that card out, I've got all my pieces cut out, so I need to layer it in the order that Anna shows here. What she's done is she also included directions for doing the same thing. Okay, so you'll have that as part of the PDF that I did for you, as well as she also talks about how to add that sentiment to the front of the cards that have that extra band on it. And you can also go back and watch that in my video if you want. And then she also shows you how you can add a little embellishment to the front of the other card. So I'm going to show you how I did that as well. So let's start. I have all the pieces cut out for this particular card. Okay, so we're working with this layer here. So we know that we want to start with this one, right? This is the inside liner of the card when you put it together, and it has a score line down the middle. This is not the front of the card, this is the inside of the card. So you will start with it in this direction. I went ahead and put the crease in mine so that I had it into a card shape, okay? And now we want to start layering. So you cut out all of these various pieces here, okay? So these all cut out, and they look how beautifully they cut out. They cut out great in the Cricut Explorer. Okay, so the next one Anna says goes on top of this one is the cream one. So we'll put that one there. And then the one after that would be the green. So I'm going to add the green one on. And then add the pink, the darker pink, and then you add the lighter pink. Okay, so once I have all of those on, I would actually then glue these all together. I'm not going to for the sake of this video because it will take a few minutes to do that. You would glue all these together, okay, and then you would glue that on top of this base piece, okay. So you would glue it so that it then adds that deeper color to the back of your rose. All right, this becomes the inside of your card, okay, like this. All right, now we have the wrapper or the outside of the card, and it is all one piece, and there again it is scored down the center, and this is the front of the card, and this becomes the back of the card. All right, so we're going to score this and fold it up, and then once you have all of these pieces glued together, then you will add this piece on top, matching it on here and gluing that onto the front of the card. Okay, so then you have your lovely layered card. All right, so that's how these go together. They all work exactly the same. It helps to have the chart so you know. In the handbook you see the different pieces, but you don't see what order you're supposed to put them in. So this is a very helpful guide to have, and like I said, I will have this out on my blog for you to be able to see. Now I'm going to flip through these. Now, Anna had also, I showed you, not only did she provide the sentiment to add on that band that goes on the front of the card, but she also gave us some for the cards that don't have the band on it. Maybe we want to have a different type of embellishment on this card. I intentionally picked this one to show you. So what I'm going to do is I took the happy birthday friend. That was one of the larger sentiments, and I used my Cricut Explorer black variety pen set, which writes beautifully on this, and I put that on a piece of cardstock. I sized it. You guys saw me do it in the video. It cut that out, and then I chose to put, because this is going to be a birthday card for a friend, I'm going to use a sparkly kind of shiny because it's a special birthday card. And then I have my piece here. So all I'm going to do is add some foam dots or foam tape to the back to give it a little bit of dimension. Okay, so I've added these onto the back of this. And I'm going to add that on top of my little gold embellishment piece here that I cut out, my little liner. Okay. And then I'm going to add a bow. So I just took some ribbon that I had and I made a little bow, and I'm going to use one of my little mini glue dots that, you know, guys, I love my little mini glue dots. I go through a ton of these, and I'm going to use that to stick the bow to my embellishment here. Okay, and now this would go on front of my card and be my little happy birthday embellishment. Okay, so that's how you can use these extra pieces here and be able to add them to your card and use them as an embellishment on the Anna's lovely layered cards. I do want to show you the envelope. before we end here. And like, remember I told you the envelope comes in two pieces. So you have this piece, okay, and then you have this extra piece. And that's how come you're able to get an envelope of this size on your 12 by 12 mat, is because Anna cleverly made them in two pieces for you. So they do have score lines, so you do use your score tool to make these. So you're going to fold the edges up, and then you'll fold this part down, and you'll add your adhesive here to make your envelope. And if you bear with me, I will do that with you guys. Let me get my tape runner out here. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive to the side, to this part here of the flap, and then I'm going to glue that down. Okay, so this becomes the beginning of the envelope. Now what I want to do is I want to take this piece, and this inserts into here and becomes like the little liner inside your card, and then you match it up on the outside. Okay, so this would be the back of your envelope, and this would be the front of your envelope where you would put the address and so forth and be able to mail it. So that's how these go together. So I'm just going to add some of my tape runner to the back side of this, and then I'm going to stick it into my envelope here and make sure that it lines up with the top of my card. And now I have my flap here that my card will go in, and I have my envelope is done, and I will show you that it fits. Now remember, mine's not put together. I didn't want to take time on the video to show you guys gluing all that together, but anyway, so, and then it fits perfectly, and you would seal this. And I actually use a product that I found at the office supply store called Lick and Stick, and it's a re-moistenable envelope glue, and you put that onto the outer edge of your flap. You would just glue it on, glue some on, you let it dry, and then it becomes a lick and stick where you're able to then moisten that and then use it to close your envelope. Okay, so that's how I seal mine. You can use washi tape, you can use a tape runner and just put some across the back, whatever you want. It depends upon if you're hand delivering this or you're going to put it in the mail. Now I will tell you that once I got my card put together and my envelope, this card now weighs 2 ounces. All right, so I'm not going to be able to mail this with one stamp. So I didn't want anybody to be surprised if their card does not get to the recipient because you didn't put enough postage on it. So make sure you kind of measure, you kind of weigh your envelopes as you're putting these cards together. This one had, as you could see, it had multiple layers. So this one, I'm sure, is a lot heavier than some of the other cards, and you'll just have to check that. But I wanted to give you that tip because I realized when I was holding it how heavy it was. And so I went and measured it, weighed it, and was able to come back and let you guys know. So that is the end of how to size the Anna's Lovely Layered cards in Cricut Design Space, and both the 5x7 and the 6x6 cards, and also how to use the 2 sentiments that are provided on that cartridge, and how to put your envelope together. As I said earlier, I will have the document that I put together for you posted on my website, scrapmequickdesigns.com. In the freebie section, I'll have this up there for you, so you would be able to download this and have it for your very own. I do ask you not to share this. Ask people to come to my website to download it for themselves. I would appreciate that. And I will also put a link to the pens that I used. And I cut all of my card pieces out with my Close to My Heart card stock because it cuts really well in the Cricut Design Space, and I'll add a link to purchasing that as well. And I will see you guys later. Thanks so much for watching this, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss any more of my Cricut product reviews or tips on how to use Cricut Design Space. Have a great day. Bye.